There is a concerning infectious disease known as EHV-1 in the world of horses. It is highly contagious, fast-moving, and capable of causing all types of issues. Outbreaks can impact barns, events, and entire operations. Well, today we're joined by two experts who will break down what EHV-1 is, how it spreads, what current testing and vaccines can do, and especially what the cleaning industry, you, need to know about right now. And my two experts today, Dr. Gavin Macgregor-Skinner, ISSA Senior Director, and Keri Lestage with Good Salt Life. Welcome, you two. Thanks for joining. So, Gavin, tee it up for us. What is this news all about? And what does the cleaning industry need to know right now?
This is critical for the cleaning industry. Right now, in 2025, there's multiple ongoing outbreaks of equine herpesvirus type 1 or EHV-1 in horses. We've just seen recent alerts in Texas. We've also seen cases reported, say, from California in the west, right over to New Jersey in the east. We've seen a lot of alerts come out from departments of agriculture. Now, those alerts, Jeff, are emphasizing prevention and response through biosecurity measures like isolation, but they're also saying cleaning is critical. The EHV-1, or this equine herpesvirus type 1, Jeff, can kill horses. It makes them very, very sick. Now, there's over 7 million horses in the US. The horse industry adds $177 billion to the economy every year. They employ 2.2 million people. There's 2.2 million jobs. This virus, this EHV-1 virus, can spread very quickly. It causes severe symptoms in horses, respiratory disease, abortion. And then this particular one, this EHV-1, causes neurological issues that can be fatal. And we've seen horses have died from this virus. The virus doesn't make people sick, but people can spread it to horses via clothing, hands, or equipment. Recently, we've just seen that the Texas Department of Agriculture has issued a statewide alert following an event in Texas that was around about November 5th. They said all owners or trainers or venue operators who have had contact with horses, attended this event, need to monitor their horses closely and implement biosecurity measures. And I want to emphasize, Jeff, what does that mean? Well, prevention and response for this virus is key. It has 4 pillars: prevention, vaccinate, risk assessment, monitor, and the 4th pillar, cleaning and disinfection. You have to know how to clean and disinfect everything that a horse comes in contact with. The response, again, has 4 pillars: quarantine for 21 days, monitor, communications, reporting, and the 4th pillar, cleaning and disinfection. So right now, Jeff, we want to emphasize cleaning and disinfection are critically important in preventing and controlling disease outbreaks, and especially equine herpesvirus type 1.
Thank you, Gavin. And I think some watching our program might know that you have a background in veterinary medicine, and now here we are helping the cleaning industry. Keri, tell us a little bit about your background and from your perspective and your experience, what's your observation of this today and your action plan?
I've been in the cleaning industry for the better part of 20 years. And so by training, I'm a material scientist and have worked in trying to promote and commercialize antimicrobials that would be suitable to prevent the transmission of disease from surfaces or fomites. Now, in this particular case, it's really kind of interesting because most of my career has been spent on the human side of the house, but most recently I've spent a lot of time on the animal side. And what I found is that there is a giant gap here in terms of cleaning disinfection protocols. It almost doesn't exist, not in the same way that we would apply for a human scenario. And so I think that there's a really good opportunity for the cleaning industry to help educate and provide services and provide support for these facilities that really don't know what the right chemistry is, what the right tools are, what the right frequencies are. And so to be able to provide that level of education, I think there's a huge opportunity for us to really make an impact for good, because horses are dying.
Thank you, Keri. Gavin, back to you. Dig more into how EHV-1 typically spreads, but focus on perhaps mistakes, things that we don't see, things that we might not spot that allow it to escalate.
Yes, Jeff. So an infected horse with this virus, everything it comes in contact can be have virus. There's equine herpes virus type 1 on it. It can spread by people through their clothing, their hands or equipment, as well as anything the horse touches. So it's really important that everyone understands how to clean and disinfect for infectious diseases like equine herpes virus type 1. And what we want to do at ISSA, we have our Making Safer Choices program, which helps people make better informed decisions for cleaning and disinfection. We have our GBAC, our Global Biorisk Advisory Council program, which then actually looks at equipment, it looks at tools, it looks at also products and processes on how to clean and disinfect for health. So it's really important that we start to let everyone know there are resources there that are going to help you make better informed decisions when it comes for cleaning and disinfecting for an infectious disease like EHV-1.
So from your experience, where are the big misses when it comes to spotting these issues and the spread of them?
It goes back, Jeff, to how to clean.
Okay.
Every horse owner, every worker, every person that has close contact with horses right now should know how to clean and disinfect everything that a horse comes in contact with. The stable, transportation, saddles, gear and tack, the horse equipment, the water buckets, the feed troughs, the floor mats. Know that you can clean leather, but you can't completely disinfect it. Everyone needs to know this, and they need to know that this is a lot of work, but there are certain types of equipment that delivery systems which help make this a little bit easier when they deliver the cleaning products, the chemicals that we need. There are certain chemicals that are safer than others. You need to know that as well. And you need to know how often to clean to try to break the cycle, decrease the viral load, and break the cycle of this very, very highly contagious virus.
This environment is particularly challenging because it's a high soil environment.
Hmm.
So disinfectants generally don't work well in really high soil environments. And so that first clean step where we're removing all that organic soil, that is critical. And if you don't get that step right, then your disinfectant isn't going to be terribly effective. So again, making sure that you got the right training, you got the right tools, you got the right chemistry to be able to achieve that is a critical, important step. Even if you got the best disinfectant in the world, if you don't get that first step right, you're going to still have trouble.
Thank you, Keri. Perhaps, Keri, you could comment on this. So thinking about diagnostics, they've advanced over the years. Can you talk about testing methods that provide the most reliable information about these types of outbreaks? And can those results be used by veterinarians and facility managers to respond?
Yeah, when we're talking about virus, it's challenging because having in-field diagnostic tests that are really reliable, that are practical, there's some challenges there. Now, we've got some proxies that we could use. So the industry has been using ATP meters for a very long time. Now, the challenge that I would caution people with ATP meters is that if you disinfect a surface and there's residue of that disinfectant on the surface and you use an ATP meter from one manufacturer and you take exactly the same sort of reading next to it from a different manufacturer, what you're going to find is that the results are actually quite different. And so you have to make sure that if you're going to use an ATP meter, what that means is that it allows you to determine how clean, how much soil is left on the surface. It measures proteins. And so once you have cleaned and disinfected, it's really important that you do some sort of water rinse to remove any sort of residual, either from detergents or from disinfectants on that surface before you use ATP. And that will give you at least a proxy to see how well you have cleaned that surface. So that is probably the most efficient tool that you could use. But practically speaking, trying to, diagnose and understand whether or not you've functionally removed the virus from surfaces, it's challenging.
We keep coming back to cleaning, disinfecting, testing surfaces to protect health, whether it's people, horses, or both. Gavin, to wrap us up here, what should we do now with this information? What would you like to see the industry do in response?
We want everyone to understand there are 4 pillars to prevention, 4 pillars to response. Cleaning and disinfection is a pillar in prevention and a pillar in response, and it's critical that you understand that preventing and controlling a disease outbreak like this, you need to clean and disinfect. Just wanted to let everyone know we're here to help. And if you need any help with this, any more information that we can share with it, as ISSA is a cleaning industry association, reach out to me personally or to Keri, and we're going to add our contact information at the bottom of the video.